Before starting this course on career counseling, it is extremely important to understand why you should take your career choice seriously. In this video, we will help you understand the importance of making the right career choice for yourself. So, why is your career choice so important? It is important because it determines a lot of things in your life, including number 1, quality of life. Your career choice plays a huge role in deciding where you live, how flexible your life is, and the kinds of things you are able to do in your free time. Number 2, identity. Ask any elder person about their career and they will tell you about it as a part of their identity. They'll say something like, I am a journalist, instead of, I report news. Notice how everybody asks you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And not, what do you want to do when you grow up? This shows that your career choice shapes your identity. Number 3, impact. Every human life touches thousands of other lives in so many different ways. If you select any 60-year-old person who is about to retire, take a time machine, find him as an infant, throw that infant into trash, and then come back to the present day, you'll find that a countless number of things around you have changed. So whatever career you choose, the world will be affected by it. Anything that determines your quality of life, your identity, and the impact that you make should be taken very seriously. And that includes your career choice also. So we hope that this short video could help you understand the importance of making the right career choice. Having done that, we will now move forward to start our career counseling course. We are pretty excited and we hope you are too. So, let's begin. See you.
Yes, we are live.
Namaskar everyone. Good evening and welcome to Probono's 95th episode of the Daily Life Career Guidance podcast. So guys, it's been an amazing experience till now, and today we have a very, very special guest with us. Today we have Mr. Dennis Ryan with us, who is the owner of Cherrapunji Holiday Resort and has a very special trait associated with him. So not only he is the owner of the resort, he has also helped put Meghalaya's and specifically Cherrapunji's living root bridges on the map. So a big thing in ecotourism, and today that's going to be our topic, ecotourism, and how it can create so many career options, how it can benefit a whole ecosystem. And when I say ecosystem, not just the people living in the ecosystem, but also wildlife, the natural habitat, and the trees, etc. And how we can take the whole ecosystem together and not just the people in it. So welcome, Dennis sir. Thank you so much for being with us today. So Dennis sir, your mic is on mute.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Nice to be with you all. I am welcome to answer your questions, whatever I can do, my best.
Great, sir. So firstly, sir, jumping right into the living root bridge, because this is something which even I heard of for the first time. Genuinely speaking, I'll genuinely speak. In my very limited knowledge, I know about very few things. So when Mr. Sain told me about the ecotourism concept and the fact that there are living root bridges in Cherrapunji, and I have been to Cherrapunji actually, but I have been to probably a more mainstream place. So I heard of it for the first time. So can you please explain for the benefit of our audience what is the living root bridge?
People in this area, because they have many streams to cross to go to their villages or go to their fields, they have been doing for many centuries. It's not a recent phenomenon. For many centuries, maybe 1,000 or maybe more than that, because The Kasi people have been living in this area for more than 2000 years. So in this area, especially around Cherrapunji and all the entire southern slopes, we get quite a lot of rainfall, and there are many rivers and streams to cross to go to places. So they have been attempting to make bridges with bamboos, live bamboos, but this concept of making the bridges by training the roots of a particular type of tree called Ficus elastica had been in vogue for many, many centuries. I have seen bridges that lived their lifetime of 500, 600 years and have been washed away after that. So it is dating back long ago, but we do not know when it started. And people, even living in Shillong, were not aware of this. That is that when we started promoting it, people living in Shillong were not knowing that such kind of bridges exist. So for me also, though I had been coming to this area since 1982, we come for a holiday, spend time with our relations, go walking, trekking around the place, taking bath in waterfalls, springs, enjoy a great holiday, go back home. But this didn't come to my knowledge also till I started the construction of the resort. So when I started the construction of the resort, I was only thing that I felt convinced was that because we enjoyed our holidays whenever we came here, certainly others will be able to enjoy at least 2 or 3 days in this place. That was the only assurance I had, no experience, nothing. So when I was through the construction phase, I used to go scouting for the treks just to find out to just go around the forest with people. Sometimes people going to some other villages, I'll just accompany them just to locate things. So in one of the trips like that, I went for a religious prayer meeting in a village at the bottom of the valley, just opposite to us. So it was a long trek, more than 2.5, 3 hours. We went there. I stayed there. That day in the evening, I was also participating in the prayer service. Then I prayed hard. I'll tell you openly because I didn't know what to. I felt I want to promote this place, but I don't know how to do it. I am telling everybody, I will show you how to do it, but I didn't know what to promote. So I was praying very hard. I keep telling this so that people know that there is a value for prayer. The next day when we were returning, I came across 2 of these bridges. That's the first time I saw. And it impressed me. It was totally different from anything I had seen in my life. I took 2 pictures of this one. It was getting late. My teammates, they were all running ahead because it was getting dark. Once you get dark, you don't see anything. You can't see the path. You won't know where you are tripping into, and what you are tripping on. So I had to keep pace. Somehow we reached after it was totally dark, pitch dark. We could come to the top of this one. I kept these pictures. When we opened the resort, we put these 2 pictures. I put it. This is Tarzan land. Bridges are made of roots and vines. That's how I started promoting it. So I was promoting so many things. This was one of the things. For 6 months, there were no takers. I used to talk to every tourist who may happen to drop in because our place was not in proper Cherrapunji. It is 15 kilometers away from Cherrapunji in a village called Laikinso. So we had to create a flow to this place also. So it took time for people to know the place because we didn't have money to promote it. We didn't have advertisement budgets, nothing. So it slowly and steadily, I used different methods to attract the tourists here. Then whenever anybody comes, I used to talk about it. I was my sole only promoter and advertisement man. Everything we used to do that, explain to them, see, this bridges are. But for 6 months, there was nobody who was, you have to walk to go to those places. We came on a holiday. You want us to walk. I said, unless you walk, you will not enjoy the holiday because this place has got so much of beauty. You walk around this place, you will enjoy this better. Then we had somebody from Maharashtra, whom family would come. They said, we would like to go. That's the first time I got an inkling that when they went and came back, I was given such a feedback. I got, okay, at least we are onto something now. The very next day, I went down, took a camera with full roll. At the time, film rolls only. took shots of the entire bridge, the nearest one that we had next to the resort about 1.5 kilometers from us. Then I made an album, photo album, explaining each and every picture with captions. That's how we started from. And for anybody who was coming down, we are promoting that way. And I came to know from a friend, there was a fan tour of tour operators from abroad conducted by the Meghalaya Tourism Department. And though I was known to them also, but because our property was that time was having only 6 rooms, and nobody invited us. So one of my friends called me, "Yeah, you are doing something for tourism in Meghalaya. You are not invited. We'll go. We'll get crash and going." So we went. I carried these albums. I had an album on the living root bridges, an album on adventure caving, and another thing about the sites around that picnic spots, all that. I carried that. That's how we started. I talked to all those foreign tour operators who had come. Can I show you something very special? So I showed them, see these root bridges. People started getting interested first, but still we have not got attention of the tour operators, because the bigger players in Shillong, they were not keen on that any other place comes up. That was the attitude. So they were, that's a nothing, small place, nothing to worry about. So then after that, from the trip department, they started calling me for all the meets. So wherever I had an opportunity, I will stand up and talk about the root bridges. I'll stand up and talk about adventure caving, all the activities that we can do around this. So it started getting attention in the paper media, and we had some tourists from abroad. The first batches was from Australia. Was from Australia. They went back and wrote about it in Western Australian newspaper, and that was the first exposure abroad. Then we had people coming on that slowly, and then because seeing my interest, then Meghalaya Tourism Department, they invited me, come to our trade fairs. You can stand in our stall, you can start promoting. So I used to initially go to Calcutta. So that was close by. I used to go and stand in the stall, and because mostly from the department, they have to do it every now and then. They come to the stall, they don't have the energy left to talk everything about it. So it was an opportunity for me. I used to stand there since morning till late evening, till they say close down. I will stand, keep on promoting. So come to Cherrapunji, welcome to Cherrapunji, welcome to Cherrapunji. So I will talk anything, you just touch a button, it will like that, I will just start pouring out. So they used to tell me, "Dennis, please take a seat. You are tired, please take." I said, if I can stand for 3 days here in the trade fair, I can sit for a year back at the resort. So I used to do with passion even the promotion. That got attracted the attraction of many tour operators in Calcutta also, and many people also. Slowly and steadily we built up. People started coming. Then we had our website. So people earlier were stopping only at Cherrapunji and going to other places as only day tours. They started realizing there's an opportunity to stay here. Then they started coming. The website and the promotions through the trade fair started helping us to attract the tourists and promote. Seeing this happen, the government started sending groups of people from other places to come and watch us, how we are going about it. Because my idea was that it's definitely I was creating a livelihood option to support our family. But our aim was that we'll take our village boys and girls, we'll train them, they should be able to give the service. If I just bring anybody from outside and make them do, I will not be doing justice to the place. Rather, I should empower the people from the village itself. That was the basis. So initially, it was very tough because for the staff from the village, they have not been even to a hotel in Shillong or to a bigger restaurant in Shillong. So you are trying to promote something and they have to provide the service. I say something, they don't understand what I say. Communication was really difficult. It took a lot of time. I used to tell them, my hair grew gray here only. after coming to, because I have to keep on repeating things for 1,000 times. And it all paid dividends slowly. They understood what they were. And I was always telling them, let us be original. Let us not copy others. You be yourself. It's easier for you to be yourself than to pretend to be somebody else. So you try to be yourself. If you are yourself, somebody is coming from outside, they will see the originality there. You don't try to be aping that hotel or this hotel. We will be ourselves. I want us to be as simple and so homely as possible. If any guest comes to our house, how we will be that way. We. So slowly, that also got the attention of people. And we were trying, that was giving confidence to many people in the area. See, this fellow is working with people from the village and is able to attract some. In the first, I can say maybe 5 years, there was nobody to take up the work. They were all just watching whether this fellow is going to withstand the flow of time, whether the business will last. Because in the first year, we didn't have anybody coming to us. So I was in such a bad shape. For 9 months, I was not able to pay salaries to my staff. But I used to tell them, don't worry, I'm sure this will pick up. I'm not going to run away without paying your salaries. If you are going to stay at home, you have to stay without getting anything. Now you stay here, we are not doing anything. When guest comes only, we are going to pay. But at least I can assure you, if at all I have to close down, I'll sell this, pay you first, then only. So they trusted me. They worked for us with all sincerity. And we were building up with our help only. With 5 of the staff, we started slowly building up. Now we have about 21 people helping us. The restaurant has got another 26 people helping us. So now it has spread to many other places. Many homestays have come up. Many other hotels have come up. Many people point the finger. You gave us the courage to take up the work. And most of them, they're employing people locally. There are still people who there are helpers from outside for the kitchen. But even there, we are trying to train the local people to do the job. I have both boys and girls working for us. Some of them, they have got grandchildren now. Some of them have many children already. Some have started with us from day one. They are with us. So it's again concept given to even the other entrepreneurs that you don't try to build a business just by bringing people from outside. Try to help your own community to stand on. You can enhance a community by bringing in other people to help. I'm not averse to it, but try to help your own community to build up. Because in these places, there are now many of them are going out to other states to work also, but still there are many who are not. And we have a challenge here because earlier these people were not used to regulated work style. They were having their gardens, betel nut gardens, betel leaf gardens, bay leaf, all that. These are like, they can go whenever they want and come back. So they don't have a regulated time. We'll have to go here. And in addition, the weather was playing a major role. For 4 months, they cannot go to the fields because of heavy rain. Even now, see, in the last 15 days, we have been having very heavy rainfall. Even last night was very severe. So all these days, they can't go. They have to remain at home. So this brings in forced idleness. So when this forced idleness comes, it tends to prolong for other periods also. So we told this people, okay, you are telling that for 4 months you are not able to make a living, you have to stay at home. I will tell you, I will change this most idle period as the most productive period. Let us not worry about going to the fields during the time because we cannot go. We will call the world to come and experience this heavy rainfall at least for 1 day. And we'll be all busy making the beds, cleaning up the rooms, cooking good food, and making the guests happy and go. And you'll earn more money than what you can earn during the other time. And it has happened. Earlier, it was like people just come and rush. It's heavy rains, they'll go away. But now you tell them, come and experience this. See the pounding of the rain during the night, especially because the The meteorology of this place also is like that. You get the heavy rainfall right at 10 o'clock at night, and it goes on. Because of the movement of air movement from up from the Himalayas down south, and the wind stream of monsoon air coming up, they clash at that time. Like that again, early mornings, around 4:35, when the sun rays starts warming up the upper atmosphere, the lightened air goes up, and the monsoon air comes up, and it's elevated because of the hills, and they immediately cool and fall. The early morning, again the blast comes. So all these things, unless you stay, you can't experience. We tell them, come and experience how people are living in this, how the markets are functioning during the rainy season. Go to the market on a rainy day. Once in 8 months, 8 days, we have the market days. How people are wrapped up in plastic sheets or with umbrellas, even the kunups, that bamboo umbrellas they have. How people are, life goes on. It may slow down a bit, but life goes on. It may be like, especially people from abroad, they are, when you tell rains, oh, we don't want to come in rains. I said, our rains, you love to enjoy. You come here, you will enjoy the rains. It's not like in Europe when it gets very cold. Here you come, it's really beautiful, worth something to enjoy as a holiday also. A lot of people from even Guwahati, there in Guwahati and all, or even West Bengal, many houses earlier used to have tin roofs. Now most of them have started to have RCC roofs. So they come to enjoy. They come to enjoy the feel. You say when they starts blasting rain on the tin roofs and comes in waves, it's something like a lullaby. It's so beautiful to enjoy that also. And with the thundering happening at the time, many of them go under the pillows. It's so severe thunder. You go under the pillows just to bear the thunder. In these experiences, there are people coming from dry states, even from the south. Nowadays, they say they used to have 21-day rainfall. I think we are already having about 2-week rainfall here now. So people can come and experience this. These experiences, by sharing, we are helping our people during the most difficult time when they can't earn a living. We are able to make a living and earn good. And in the winter season, usually people are not coming, because monsoon season they were coming to see the waterfalls, the clouds coming over the hills, all that the scenery of monsoon they were enjoying. But winter, even entire Meghalaya was not having any flow of tourists. So we told, see, winter is the best time for trekking. So the treks I started promoting, slowly, they started getting up. Not only the double trek. Now the youth of the place, they started realizing, Array, this fellow is just taking. When I started taking people to show the route bridge first, people were hiding behind trees and sitting on the top of the trees and observing what I was up to. They were not believing. I'm taking them personally. I used to take, because at the time I don't have guides. I didn't have money to pay any guides. If somebody is interested, come, I'll take you. I'll take them, show them the place. Till I was also sure there are people wanting to come. Then once the flow was built, then I engaged our boys. Come, now you know what I'm doing. You show them. Initially, they were observing me, hiding from locations and finding out what I was up to. Once they were sure, the whole area started talking about this. This fellow is taking tourists to show to these living root bridges, and it was such a common thing, and people are going to see that. So now,
that's amazing, sir.
So the next village one I will just complete. Even on holiday times and winter days also, if you see the double-decker road bridge trek, in that area many shops have come. Young children, maybe for 8 years, 10 years or less also, holding sticks to hire 20 rupees. And holiday time you come, there will be many of them sitting to hand over the tourists. The whole place is lively. I have. Is it okay that I have lost power now?
Yeah, I could see that in the background. Hope it comes back soon, though.
It should come.
Yeah. But it's amazing. So, because first thing I want to say is that you are the most amazing ambassador for tourism. You know, the way you were just describing that, you know, how treks are so amazing during winter times, how people enjoy rains, how how you found out the whole, different treks. So guys, guys in the audience who are watching, let me just summarize that in short for you. So the living root bridges are man-made, by the way. These are man-made, natural, if you can call them resources, because there is a certain way that the tribes have trained them to grow so that they can intertwine. That is what I read on the internet. And secondly, the biggest thing is that once, so earlier why they were not on the map is because people were not reaching to those places. So what Dennis Sir did is he detailed a lot of treks to reach those places, to go through, the experience basically of seeing the landscape, seeing the mountains, everything. And that is how he promoted the tourism in that area. And that's what the experience he was describing. And the second thing, not even just ecotourism, the way he beautifully intertwined community-based entrepreneurship into this model. So the best thing about that is that you not only promoted your own community, but you also helped create opportunities through the preservation of environment, through the preservation of environmental resources. Because what happens is, and we were discussing before the podcast, me, Mr. Sen, and Dennis Sir, that why people are not preserving the environment. In fact, we are destroying it as humans because somehow there are not enough opportunities. So then we are mining, quarrying, etc. But Dennis Sir said that if we created opportunities, or if we create opportunities through the preservation of environment, through promoting tourism to see these amazing, resources around us, to see these amazing phenomena around us, that is when we can preserve both the ecosystem and the human community. So that is something amazing. Now, Dennis Sir, one very small question I had, and this might seem like a very stupid question to you. So I am a resident of a city called Delhi, which is decently well planned. Now, in Delhi and Bangalore, these are cities, I get lost within a kilometer. So there would be times when I'm at some place and I would be like, okay, Google Maps, let me open and let me find out which is the closest metro station. I don't know where I am heading to. Sometimes I am on the road. My father would ask me, hey, Aditya, where are you? I'm like, I don't know. I'll tell you after opening Google Maps. So I get lost even in these planned cities. Now, you had to explore these different areas, and obviously without Google Maps, because you said you started from 98. And another thing which you said is that when it is dark, it is pitch dark. So you cannot notice too much stuff, even in late evening. So when you had to explore, did it happen any time that you got lost? That, okay, where am I now? How do I return back? Did this happen?
I had gone with one of my friends from Prague. He's a great adventurer. He had come and stayed with us once, and we got gelled well. And I used to go do with him river canyoning. So river canyoning is just going down to the bottom of the valley, follow the river course, and come up. And it's very adventurous, very, very adventurous. And if you are not careful, you will break your bones. So you jump from one rock to another, exactly you guess, okay, this much distance, and you break. If you don't break, you will be down 20 feet. So that kind of stuff. So I used to do with him. So when I once went, and I knew the route, and I took him, I'll take you by this route, we'll do river canyoning from this side. We went through half the jungle, and afterwards, because of jungle undergrowth, we couldn't make out where we came from. Also, that path also was not visible. We were surrounded by, everything was looking same, there was no path. So we realized where we are stuck up really, and okay, we somehow followed the drains where water flows, reached the thing. It took us, though we could see the river below, it took us 2 hours to reach the river, because we had to slide down this then and reach the river. So that last,
There is some slight tech issue at Dennis Sir's end.
So first time.
So, sir, can you hear us?
Yeah. Is it fine?
It's coming through a bit broken. Sure, we'll wait. So guys, till then, I think it's very nice to kind of reflect on what Dennis Sir said. So in the beginning of the conversation, I obviously highlighted the ecotourism part of it and the promotion of the community along with the habitat and everything. What I really also learned here is an entrepreneurial mindset. So see, there are 2 more points which he said, which I would like to reflect on. So one was indigenous, something which you have created yourself, something which you have an experience which you have created yourself. Because what he told is, let us not copy from someone else. And I think this is a big lesson for our entrepreneurial community, because I won't name anything or anyone, but there is a very prevalent mindset, especially when the entrepreneurial so-called wave started in India, that, where is this model successful apart from India? Why do we need to have models which are already validated outside only as validated models in India? Why can't we produce something of our own? So that is a mindset also entrepreneurs need to have, because while we need to have stable businesses which already do what is being done, we do need TV repairing, we do need laptop repairing, this is being done, and this needs to keep getting done. However, we also need new things to be innovated, and that will never happen if we just only keep looking at, okay, what is validated in the US, what is validated in China, can we replicate that? Not just that, but we also need to create new things which are unique to us, which are unique to our environment, which are unique to our ecosystem. So that is one thing I learned. And second is entrepreneurial wisdom, that how you can retain the faith of your team, because initially, as he said, the team was feeling a bit demotivated. Then he had to kind of convince them that at least here I will guarantee that you don't have to spend anything, plus you'll enjoy working here. So all these things really, I think, are a big part of anyone's career, going ahead, that if you are a leader, if you are a manager, you need to regain the faith of the team that you're working with, and obviously coordinate them towards a common goal, which is the copybook definition. Now, Mr. Sen, I would like to ask you whether you have any questions for Dennis, sir.
Well, thank you so much, Aditya. Welcome to the show. Namaskar. And I think we're going to have, and we are already having, a very interesting session. Dennis, are you back?
I'm here.
Okay, great.
Now, clear?
Yeah, we can hear you very clearly.
Okay.
Now, I have done some work in tourism way back, and some people who know me, they know that I've done about 2 or 3 projects for the government at that time. One was the government of Sikkim, one was the government of West Bengal, and that talked about ecotourism and sustainable development. And what we understood was tourism, which is sustainable and it's developing, it creates the maximum employment in any sector, because it's got an accelerator effect on other sectors. So if people come to visit you, then restaurants work, transport system work, they get jobs, they earn money. Food is being served, so they get money, they get jobs. There is service to be provided, they get jobs, they get money. There is guides, local guides are required, they get jobs, they get money. And you talked about it. So what my question to you is, you have done a lot of development in Meghalaya, Cherrapunji, and the village around you. You've used the community. You have taught them many things. You have taught them how to be self-sufficient and all that. So can you just tell a few words about community development, number one? And number two, very interestingly, about your resort, about Cherrapunji, about the living tree, the double-decker living tree, the international world knows more about it than the Indian world. And that I'm not surprised at all, because that's the way things are. So can you tell the audience about something about the double-decker bridge, the living double-decker bridge, how it is built, and how it got international recognition from BBC, the Japanese, and and all the major sort of channels in the world? So 2 questions: community development and double-decker bridge and international recognition and development. And along with that, why does the rest of India not know about it?
Welcome. Taking about community development first. Our coming here into this field itself was with that idea. Because first thing I told my family also was this: if we are going to do something, it should help somebody else to develop. Our own families were needing that kind of direction, support. We are having many small children, young boys and girls in the family. And they were not knowing what to do after, if at all, after education, and the opportunities were limited. And only thing they think was and just earners. So they were not thinking beyond that. So unless we do something now, we won't be able to give direction to them. So not only for this one, we were just giving. I was not focused only for the family. I said you have to go there because they don't accept you means they won't listen to you.
Yeah.
So for get acceptance, I had slowly built up, and they saw others started this one, looking at the model and trying to copy. They started realizing, okay, there is something he's telling, even within the family. So, but others who started picking up, now it has spread out across Meghalaya. Many homestays, many trekking routes have been developed by others. I have not done many of them yet because they have developed across Meghalaya, and I have been busy here. So the idea has caught on. It's not just stopped at only our village or only in Cherrapunji area. It has caught on. Maulanam came after 2005. So that area, they started developing the thing is that the community, local village community getting involved and doing things. They were not waiting for the government intervention. That's what we were telling. Don't wait for somebody else to come and help you out. We have to help ourselves. So very often...
That's a very important point. We have to help ourselves. And that's what Aditya is working on, entrepreneurship. We need to help ourselves. And there you have talked to the community to develop them. Please continue.
So it was when this thought was taken, they used to come, many used to come and talk also. I said, there may be subsidy, not subsidy. I didn't get any subsidy, but we went ahead because we want to do it. And there is money in it. Don't think that I am doing this, whether I used to encourage them. If you do properly, people want to come. They want to come to places like this, and they are willing to spend. So you are creating opportunities for yourself and for your community also. The spiller effect. See, another thing I was always underlining was this: when our children here, our boys and girls around here, they are the most go up to Shillong. Very few go up to Guwahati. So their world is very limited. Now, I cannot take, anybody cannot take them outside to show these are the opportunities available. When you see in the TV, it's more like a unreal this one. But when you see for yourself directly, you start realizing things. So what we did, by bringing in the tourists, we are showing to our own parents, the children, what educated children can look like, how other families are there. Now the tourists are becoming a showcase for our people. It's not just showing our people. The tourists are becoming something to see for our people. Why not we can reach up to that? Why cannot we do like this? So that the thought is put subtly. It is not stated at all. It's very subtly done. The more the people come, I have not seen change in Cherrapunji town or the surrounding areas for almost 30 years. Right from 82 to 2010 also, I didn't see much change. Within the last 5 to 10 years, you see so much change happening. It takes time to germinate. When you are placing slowly, people are now, it's changing so fast. You may feel, of course, the terrain is changed, all that it may happen. But if people don't have a proper living, they may spoil the terrain also. So that's what that mining, all those things have happened because of that. If you are showing something better and we are connecting it, your future lies by keeping it like this. You are preserving it. I keep on, wherever I have to talk, I connect this to. So don't think because tourists are coming, you destroy things. Rather, you preserve. You have to keep this as natural as possible, as beautiful as possible. Then only it can sustain. So that we keep telling that also. That's
it is all about sustainable community development.
Yes. Number 2 was that you asked about how the foreign media got it first.
Yeah.
The first gentleman who came, because the treks in the beginning, as I told you, when I to talk about treks, most of the domestic tourists were coming, especially at that time, those who were coming to the side, were like, they will like to go by the taxi, get down at a viewpoint, click some pictures, and that's it. They're all day in the evening, sit and drink a lot, and go. That was the concept of. So we're trying to say, see, if you just go around, get down, just see, instead walk through the whole place. What an experience you are having. It's first-hand experience. Your body is also toned up, and it's nothing. You go and take a bath in the waterfall and see, enjoy that instead of just watching the waterfall, clicking pictures and coming. I'll take you further. All the things we started pushing slowly, but those guests from abroad who started trickling in the beginning, they were the ones who were ready to do this. And when they went back, they wrote about it in the magazines and all. The first international TV group that came, Asahi TV from Japan, the director of this one, he said, I read an article about your place when I was in a spa in Europe. Then I followed the trail. Then he came to see for himself. He was convinced. He stayed for 2 days, went around, saw, convinced. Then he came with his team, 10 people, 10 days. For BBC, got a clue from some. They came to that. They wanted to do it. Then the London, so, and one of else got it. Then London came in later. So when there was a competition between the two, who will show the first? When I said, both of you show, man, I want people here. So that helped after that. And it, because it's in a wider, because Japan was in Japanese, they didn't do it in English. So it was limited and our website also getting hits, especially from Bangalore. That's a surprising thing. We have some friends always coming from all kinds of every year. So once, somewhere about 15 years down the line, they told me, Dennis, we have seen your work right from it started. I would like to do a research on it about the flow of tourists to your place. They took all the data of my people who were visited our place. To my ear, said, where are your highest number of people? I thought, I think mostly Assam. No, it's all from Karnataka and from Bangalore. Because I have not digitized this one. They had done it. They told me this is what is the results we are getting. Because mainly for the website. Because I looking at the gentleman from Indian international business, IBM, he said for 1 week, to tell you frankly, I didn't do my work. I hit upon your website. I was so hooked up to it. Every day I was reading that and decided to come down. And I had somebody from Delhi. I had decided to go on a holiday, but I didn't know where to go. Perchance I looked into your website and this is the place I'm going. So like that. So it helped. That is first, after the international media, it attracted that. Now, through the website, especially I get a lot of people coming for trekking. Still, though the leisure crowd that doesn't want to do much activity, they are not yet knowing it. Slowly, the Meghalaya government and all the trade fairs, they are promoting it also. And wherever I'm participating in last year, I went to 5 places. West, only north we didn't go. West and south and east we cover. Wherever I'm promoting it has its impact slowly and steadily. And when we started now,
I think there is some issue with the internet again.
And food again.
Oh, you're back.
Yes, sir.
It's back.
Yes.
Maybe from the tower must be.
Yeah.
So because of the interest level of the leisure tourists, those who don't want to walk much, and for them also there's a special period. The monsoon is the best for them. They need not walk. They just see the sights, take pictures, and have a booze and say enjoy the time and go away. That's fine. So for the people who are into adventure, who are already, I have not been to, I just saw in YouTube, the scariest trek, bamboo trek in Meghalaya. I have not been there. I had to go and do that. Just along a steep rock cliff face, they made a bamboo. This one is very treacherous, actually. And people are going to do that. So many things have come up. Now, the young crowd is already coming. The young crowd is already coming for that. It will be a matter of time when everybody would like to do that. Because the double-decker trek or some of the route bridge trek involve going down the valley. You go down 3,000 steps, 4,000 steps to reach some place. Then climb back up. That is keeping the people who cannot take up that kind of thing. I can do it at 65. And
wow. So at 65, Dennis can climb down 3,500 steps and climb up 3,500 steps.
Sir, one question: is it your fitness, or is it the easy? Is it the fact that the trek is so difficult? Because see, what I read, the treks are pretty difficult, so you must be very fit.
I have done much more difficult treks than that, and we still go for exploration.
I can tell you, it's all over here and over here. It's the heart and the mind.
I always tell, get it over here. Then the body follows. So exactly. When they want to do treks, whether we can do and all, I tell them, even when they try wear saris and want to do, I said, if you want to wear the sari, but tie it up a little high so that your legs are free, you don't trip. If it's better, you go in a salwar kameez or jeans or something, that'll be better. There are ladies who are done with the sari, this one, they're gone and come. And see, it's all in the mind. I have seen elderly people do it. When I started, 5 gentlemen came. The youngest was 65-year-old and eldest was 75 from Pune. And he has written in Marathi, Treks in Meghalaya, a booklet, where he has given a reference to me also, and many people he keeps referring. I must be now past 85 to past 85 easily. So that kind of, there are people who we keep quoting to people. We had young people about 35, 45 years just doing a small trek close by, which is hardly about 2 hours, 40 minutes we can reach. Half the way coming back, panting for breath, you cursing me and wanting to this one. You sent us to die there. I said, why? So treacherous, so bad, so difficult. I hear this only 40-minute trek. Our boys will run for 20 minutes. They will be down there. And you have to understand that you have to take your precautions, but your fitness also should be there. Don't curse me because you are not able to do it. I have taken one young person. He does gyms, workouts in gyms. So we went for a swimming pool trek down the other side. It's a little steep. Halfway through, all other people were able to. This gym person couldn't do it. He was on his force, literally climbing on his force. He couldn't manage at all. He was sweating like anything. I said, come on here, I'll stay with you. You go ahead, I'll bring him. Slowly encouraged him. He was a regular gym worker. And we had 1 hour gym. And this one in Himalayas. So we went from our hill to the opposite hill. I could complete it in 5 hours. He was one that he gave, and he gave up. The next day morning, returned by vehicle to Shillong and come back to the resort because we had to go in a circuit. You go down further north about 100, say from that place about 70 kilometers, and come down again 70 kilometers. So next day we came down walking 9 hours. It was very treacherous, but did it. And the other person who was with him could do it. It's all like your mind, and we more or less keep fit because the terrain is like that. Anything more I would like to add on, please?
That's fantastic. And there's one thing I just want to say, and I want Aditya to come in, is if you're with nature, you forget all your problems, you forget all the tensions, the stress, and everything that is there that the so-called work that we do puts on us. And once you're at one with nature, you're thinking about your own survival, you're thinking about how people actually live, You're looking at the birds, the animals, the greenery, and ladies and gentlemen, that is life. So with that, Aditya, why don't you read out the audience? They must be having a lot of comments, I think.
Yeah, they have many. And thank you so much for all the audience members to persist with what tech issues we have had. I think the tech issues can't defeat us. That's one thing we have established through the 95 days of the podcast. So I'll just read the audience comments one by one and also clear my throat.
Legend.
Yeah. So good evening, everyone. Whoever has wished us good evening, thank you so much. Okay. So Mrs. Kumkum Sen comments, Mr. Dennis, you have transformed the place, developed it, and used everything indigenous. Great work.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Shrishti
I
asks
don't
us.
remember your
sorry, Dennis. Yeah.
I couldn't remember because when they told about her coming, she only recommended me to your channel. So
Yeah, she
I
did.
can't remember, but I remember that lady coming and staying here. So one of her staff was telling that.
Amazing,
Because I meet
amazing.
so many people, sometimes I can't remember unless it's frequently repeated.
Yeah, I understand. So many people must be coming. The way you have taken up the tourism of Cherrapunji, I think a lot of people must be visiting. So it's very natural to forget some of them.
And the other thing is, it's a role model. It's a role model in India that people can actually look towards and see. Yeah, okay, it is something we can do.
Exactly. I had somebody recently from Tamil Nadu. He has come and stayed long time back, referred by a common friend of us. He said, since the time I've been dreaming of doing something, now I'm getting that urge very much. So can you please guide me? So we had a long discussion on that. So if more people come into it and get encouraged, I feel happy.
Yeah, Aditya, what are the other comments? Aditya, you're muted.
Oh, really sorry. I did not realize I went on mute. So Shrishti asks us, Sir, सामंत सर क्यों नहीं आते आजकल सेशन में? तो सृष्टि और बाकी जो भी हमारे दर्शक देख रहे हैं, सामंत सर एक्चुअली अभी थोड़े फीवर में हैं पिछले एक दिन से, तो इसलिए वो नहीं आ रहे. बट आई एम प्रीटी होपफुल दैट वो कल वापस आएंगे और लास्ट के 3-4 पॉडकास्ट या 5 पॉडकास्ट सॉरी जो बचे हैं हम साथ में करेंगे. सो डोंट वरी, ही विल बी बैक सून. So Mrs. Kumkum Sen asks us, please tell us something about the double-decker route bridge and how it became an international tourist destination. So even though I think we have covered that a bit, sir, if you can kind of in short give an answer to that question. Yeah.
Double-decker route bridge as such, when the first tourist, this one Japanese documentary was done, after that only it started attracting people from outside. Subsequent to that, BBC came in, maybe about 2 years after that. They came in 2006, and when they did a thorough job, and they did it in English. That took it to international level. I thank especially BBC for that, to make it a really international place to visit. Now, I have people coming from other America, Europe, and all, only to see the bridges. We have every year about 10 groups coming from UK, and for them this double decker is a must. So it is that's from a foreign tour operator. Like that, many are going and staying. Even in this lockdown, there were about 5 people who are from different countries in Europe who were stuck there. Where the double-decker route bridge is there, the village has got a homestay. The residents they have got, and there are other families in the village they have made. There is one Serene homestay. He is a young fellow, very entrepreneurial. He has got all backpackers accommodation. There were 5 people in the entire Germany. There were no tourists, but there were 5 people stuck. We don't have international flights to go back because they are giving us 300 rupees, 500 rupees per day. So they were staying there. I think maybe they are still there because this flights are not available again. And they go with the people of the village to the gardens, plucking pepper, plucking the beetle leaves. All the work that they are doing with them. They are enjoying the stay. There was one lady from France. She stayed for 1 month. She wrote a book about the stay. So many are coming from outside. They are wanting to be with the local people, living with them, writing things, and that is spreading. Because these people are really special. They are very welcoming. They are very special. That has taken it very far to the international.
Wow. That's great.
That's really amazing, and more importantly, very tempting. More I'm listening about, the living root bridges, the double-decker living root bridge. I feel like visiting right now, not even like, maybe a month later. I feel like visiting right now. And I don't know why. I have visited Shillong once. I have visited Cherrapunji also, but somehow I don't know how I missed it. So I should definitely visit, and then I hope I'll be in your resort someday.
I can take you down personally. Please come.
That would be amazing. Yes. Great opportunity that would be. So guys, if you want to visit Meghalaya, you know who to contact. If you want us to put you in touch with Mr. Dennis, feel free to let us know.
My website is easy to remember, cherrapunji.com.
Great. I'll also post the link to your website in the comment section.
Yes, sir. That will be great. Thank you.
So Anita ji says you are doing good to nature, doing good for needed people, and creating inspiration for young entrepreneurs. So you are my favorite personality.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's great of you to say.
And she also asks you a question: how to reach towards the maximum audience in a business?
How to say that? See, because I have been building brick by brick. I never reached in one go. It had been like when I started, I was not getting people. There was a gentleman who was a correspondent of Economic Times who came to stay when Sardarji came. Then he told me, gave me so many ideas. Dennis, you should do this, you should do that, so that you can attract the market. I told him, sir, my pocket is empty. So the ideas are all good, I accept it, but I don't have the resource. Then I said, I have an advice for you. Word of mouth. Let each tourist who's coming to you get you another tourist. You make his stay so nice and comfortable. They go back, they have compelled to talk about you. You will not send just one tourist, you will send many tourists. That is if you really like, whatever the advertisement you do, the best advertisement is the word of mouth. Because the guests who come once to you, if you make their experience really pleasant, they will certainly remember you. Whenever an occasion comes, when they are talking, it comes out. I was called to give a talk in Indian Institute of Hotel Management in Shillong. And the person who was conducting the program, he didn't know that I was coming for the talk. He had told about an experience in our place. He said, we want to have a barbecue. The person, he said, I have got it, we'll get it done. Don't worry. So we made a barbecue, this one, before his coming, provided him that. So he was quoting that experience. So like your guests are your best advertisers. And to start the one, it will be difficult. But like advertisement, when we went, we had to first understand the market, which market you are focusing. To maximum is not that the thing. You understand your target, what market you are targeting, then focus your efforts on that. So at that time, the focus was immediate because I can't go to other places. So Guwahati was the easiest place. So we should promote from Guwahati. We placed 3 hoardings in Guwahati. That started creating the flow. That time we realized too much advertisement is not good for us because it was getting everybody. So it said we are promoting our place exclusively for families. So we don't want everybody coming to use the place. So we put a block on that after that. So we started promoting it differently. So you have to first understand what you want, which is the target segment, and fine-tune your marketing according. There won't be a blanket to this one, and the web is definitely helping it's the cheapest way of marketing because it goes to a wider market, and you can, whatever you want to sell, you can clearly give all the content there. That will be one thing. Now everybody is using, even remote villages is using it. So that is the easiest and cheapest medium to reach across the world. Am I clear?
Word of mouth.
Absolutely.
There you have it.
That's the best one.
And this is very interesting because what they don't teach you in an MBA or probably in any course so-called is what experience teaches you. And as Dennis sir, and I think I would like to draw a parallel between your traveling experience with the entrepreneurial experience. So as Dennis sir said, to understand these things, so he very beautifully explained the concepts of geography as to why it rains at night in Meghalaya in the very beginning of the conversation. And I was thinking that, okay, next question I will ask is, sir, did you learn this geography by theory or did you learn it by practice? And immediately after that conversation, he himself said, without even me asking, that to see these things, you have to come here and experience. And that's how I understood. Okay, so even if he would not have read it, he would have just seen it and understood, and through common knowledge, he would have got to know that. Similarly, entrepreneurial experience is also worth gold, worth whatever carat or whatever amount of gold you want to have. Because what they don't teach you in a course, the experience will teach you. And experiences teach every entrepreneur this, that reputation is the best tool in marketing. You can learn all about the hook, the radius marketing concept, or social media marketing, SEO, whatever tools of marketing you can learn will always be subsided by reputation, because if you can build a great reputation, word of mouth will spread on its own. Your users, your customers will become your best salesmen, and you don't even need to pay them. So I think to ensure a very good customer experience is how you ensure growth in a business. And I think Dennis sir's homestay, Dennis sir's travel experience is testimony to that. Let me read some more comments. Padmaja ma'am says, innovative adventure tourism. And Kumkum says, great, you remember me. Thank you so much. Mr. Himanshu Bose, who is also my father, says, once the COVID period is over, I will certainly visit Meghalaya with my wife to the double-decker route bridge. So, Papa, please take me also if you're going.
So you want a sponsor?
Yeah, I want a sponsor. Okay. So Ms. Pavitra Paul has a really nice comment and a long one. So she says, I had visited and stayed in Cherrapunji Holiday Resort. We did double-decker route trek. There are a couple of small treks in and around Cherrapunji Resort. Enjoyed evening program by young Khadi boys. Enjoyed the local food. As a parting gift, they had given my daughter a coffee mug with the photo of double-decker route bridge. Accommodation is basic, but a very homely atmosphere. So there you have it. Amazing feedback for Cherrapunji's holiday resort and the double-decker route bridge.
We have since added more accommodation, because when we started, our pockets were very small. And now some more rooms have been added, where you can see in the website itself. We have got some 360-degree pictures also. We have little higher end accommodation also now. So we have both basic, because my idea is that I should be able to give more option to even people, middle class people who are willing to travel. It was not making money that was. I want more people enjoying this place, more tourists to come. And with the money that I had, whatever is possible, we had built up what we had. As we are able to grow, we are building up more and more better. The new set of rooms that are coming up, they are totally looking into the valley, very spacious rooms. But because of COVID-19, we have to stop the construction work. Otherwise, we are planning to get it opened up by September this year. Maybe it has to wait for some more months. After that, will. And as for quality, you can just look at the website itself. You can see now the rooms are more than basic now, sir. Madam.
Great. So, ma'am, there you hear it. The rooms are more than basic now. Things keep developing, and so
no,
have they at
a repeat trip for Pavitra. I know Pavitra very well.
Sure.
A repeat trip for Pavitra is in order.
We'll do a special discount for you.
Amazing, amazing. So, Mr. Sen, you can go, you can kind of plan a get together with all your friends and go together.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah. And now this brings me to my next and last question. Actually, it's a very good segue because, when we are planning trips, so my father in the other room is planning a trip, probably. Then Pavitra ma'am is planning a trip. Mr. Sen might be planning a trip. And when we are all doing that, Dennis, sir, does the current situation worry you? Because obviously, the travel industry has taken a hit currently. And it's very uncertain what is going to happen in the future. When is public transport going to open up? When can we travel across states and do that with a lot of security in our mind, or and with a lot of kind of peace in our head? So when can we do that? And does that worry you that the ecotourism space or the tourism space in general is going through a tough time?
It is true that current situation, everything is in lockdown. Though only from last Monday they allowed the restaurants to open up. There are no tourists to come to the restaurant. Only some locals traveling. As for the hotels and resorts, they are not allowed to open, and the state government has not allowed any flow in interstate movement yet. And whatever we are hearing, they are talking that it may be for another 1 year also. So that's a long period of time too, because we have to sustain our expenses. But when everything is stopped, now we used to pay so much of tax about, even for our small business, about 4 lakhs, 3 lakhs per month we were paying GST. And with this one, everything is stopped. We are zero generation, zero tax payment. So naturally, this is going to affect the flow of funds to the government also. So when for them to sustain their bureaucracy, sustain the police force, the military, the health, this one, they also need money. So it will be ultimately the economic compulsion that will come in. We have to decide to live along with, if COVID is not going to go away very fast, we have to be ready to live along with COVID-19. So in that case, so long as you are strong, you travel. And when if at all it is there, we take precaution. So because we cannot, this is not only tourism, entire economic activity has ground to a halt. Wherever they are trying to restart also, there are many problems there. Even if you have restart, I have to do so many other things because it's once it's flow, it's different. When you stop and restart, it's like restarting totally anew. So many things have to come into it. But we are still hopeful. Maybe it may take another 3 months or maybe another 6 months. We'll weather it out. Because the thought in the community here also is that let us not bring the tourists too fast, because they should not bring the health problem to us. So that is the government. I talked with the government circle also. I said, let us hold on for some more time, maybe if necessary also for a year. So that's the attitude still there. But if they start realizing it's their pockets have started pinching, they will also start singing a different tune. Right now our pockets are pinching, but we have to go along with the community till the community is open to accept people. So we have to remain for them. So those people who are having alternate sources of income, they are already looking into it, trying to do things. We don't know what is happening. But though whatever I am hearing among the circle of the tourist circle, the travel trade circle, is that it will come back, because people, when they are like incarcerated for many months like that, they also want to let down and go out for some time. People are ready to travel, to go, even though their incomes are less, but just to get out of the being kept in lockdown, they want to go. So immediately there may be flow from nearby places, from within Meghalaya, or from the nearby state, Assam and other states, because everybody likes to come to Meghalaya because of its city. It will start. Only thing is that when the government allows that to happen, it will happen. It may be 3 months or 6 months or 1 year. We won't. We will weather it out. It's a time, sometimes we don't have time to rest. Now we have enough time to rest.
Yeah, that's a very good way to look at it. And I think resilience and optimism, as you described, are important for any industry and any business to stay alive. And I think perseverance is also very important. So as sir was saying that, even if it is pinching our pockets, we just need to prepare well and need to stay prepared for the future ahead. And I think that is also a very good trait that we maintain throughout this podcast. We persevered through tech issues, but we learned a lot, I'm pretty sure. And it was an amazing podcast with you, Dennis, sir. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dennis. It was fantastic to have you there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And thank you so much to all the audience members who had joined us and who had also persisted along with us through the tech issues. I think we are all fighters, and that is what is needed in this situation. We keep reminding ourselves that the situation is such we have to fight very positively and fight together. And when we talk about togetherness, I would like to sum up this with an audience comment by Anita ji, who says we'll all go together. So Anita ji, if we all go together, then Dennis sir has to give us a huge discount. As we'll all go together, there will be at least 25 to 30 people.
Please, come down. We'll do it together. Thank you. Thank
So
you
on
to all.
Yes, sir. Right. So, as Dennis sir says, thank you so much, everyone, for attending this podcast. And there are only 5 more left on a daily basis. So, make sure that you join all the 5, 96 to 100. And we'll have amazing fun like we had today. So, guys, with this amazing take on ecotourism, community building, and the living root bridges, and obviously entrepreneurship and career building, let's stay home, stay safe, take care of our parents, and parents take care of your children. Both ways it goes. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow with another guest at the same time at 6 p.m. So tune in, and don't forget that there are only 5 podcasts left on a daily basis. So you need to tune in, right? So guys, take care and bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All the very best. Thank you.